I am for the child that lived in motels, cars, and shelters.
The child who now stands in the entryway of a group foster home,
clutching a makeshift suitcase.
A garbage bag.
That is the child I am for.
And because I am,
he will be half as likely to languish in foster care.
And that much more likely to find a safe, permanent home.
I am a volunteer child advocate.
I am a volunteer child advocate.
I am a volunteer child advocate.
I am you.
I am you.
I am you.
I am you.
CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and CASAs are a volunteer group of people from the community that have a desire to help kids that are in crisis.
A lot of times the CASA volunteer will not actually testify, but they generally prepare a report, and I always read the report. So when I get a stack of documents while we're hearing a case, that one of the first things that I go to is I go to that CASA report and see what their recommendations are so that I'll have the benefit of the CASA input.
What a CASA allows is someone who has more time and more opportunities to get into the day-to-day life of a child, how they're doing in school, how they're doing in a foster home if they happen to be in a foster home, or even in their parents' care. And along with getting that more detailed and daily information, they also are able to come to the case with a different perspective.
A CASA is unique in that he or she has access to children's medical records, school records, therapy records, and that is done by court order, which tracks the statute. That CASA is independent, doesn't owe any one person or agency anything, is not beholden to anybody except that child, providing truthful testimony and court reports to the court about that child and what the CASA thinks that child needs.
My experience with CASA has been whatever needs to be done, if it is possible to get done, CASA will do that. Everybody has very specific roles, and to me, CASA is the gap filler. They don't have an official court title, so that makes parents a little bit more comfortable with them. A lot of times parents think everybody in the system is against them. Well, CASA comes in sort of as a part of the system, but not really the system.
At any given time, just myself alone in the position that I'm in, I can have anywhere from 80 to 100 cases. And so each of those cases may have anywhere from one child to 4 or 5 children.
It is not natural for kids to be in court. It's not natural for states and governments to raise kids. And CASA advocates have the unique position of being assigned to look after a child who's involved in a court case. And that is so very important, and it's part of what makes a CASA advocate different.
My name is Kaye Wood, and I have been a CASA for 10 years. Raven was one of my first cases.
I never really knew my mother. She was on drugs, so I never really stayed with her. So me and my siblings, we bounced from house to house, and when someone finally took us, I thought it was my dad, but come to find out it wasn't my dad till my real dad came to get me. So I was young. I would say I was about 9 or 10. And so when I did go live with him, he threw me off on his mother. And so she raised me from elementary all the way close to high school. And so she said it was my dad's time to raise me. I guess he didn't know how to be a parent or didn't want to be a parent. So he had like an anger problem. And so since I didn't know how to control my anger without having like a mother or father to raise me, I was lost, hurt. So I had anger problems too. So we just didn't get along. And so we got into an argument one day. We actually got into like a physical altercation, and he drugged me out the house, and I ran to a Sonic that was real close to our house, and I called the police. At that time, I didn't know how it felt to leave that situation or what I was getting myself into. So I was really scared.
I met Raven just before her 16th birthday, and she was living in the group home, and there were so many girls in all parts of the house that the only place for us to meet was in the foyer. And there was a little table with chairs there, and it was very cold there. I remember that. The house was drafty, and I was so cold. But I have never met such an angry child in all my life. Raven did not trust anyone. She had been conditioned to not trust anyone, and she didn't trust me either, and it was obvious. She wondered what I was doing showing up in her life now. Why didn't I show up 2 years ago when she really needed some help?
When I was younger, about 13, I've never had a CASA, so every time I went to court, I would just be quiet. I didn't never say anything. So when it was my time for the judge to say something to me, I never said anything, so I never got my voice out. So when I met Miss Kaye, she's like, I'm your voice. I speak for you. So if I want to tell her something, I'll tell Miss Kaye and she'll tell them.
I was determined that everybody else in her life had let her down. And I thought, I can never let this child down because she deserves someone in her life that is hers.
If Miss Kaye could sit through all my rough times and rocky times and put up with, God knows what, in the court, or me moving from house to house, or even helping me with simple 12th grade year, this is the least that I can do. It may not be much, but it's the least that I say, I thank you for all you have done for me.
No child should have to go to court without a voice. No child should have to go through life feeling like no one cares. And that's what a CASA can do. You got to love anyone that will take the time to do that.
CASAs are everyday people. They are people that you don't have to have a special background in law. You don't have to have a college education. We just, again, want someone that's got a heart for children.
So I do have a full-time job. CASA requires you to do 5 to 10 hours a month, so that's not hard to do at all, especially once you start meeting your kids and all of these other people. You really want to spend time with them, so it's really easy for me. I work 5 to 6 days a week. I do CASA at night. Sometimes it's as simple as having lunch with the kids sometimes.
The rewards I find that I've experienced since being a CASA is being a constant in someone's life, the voice for a voiceless little person who is confused about what's going on in their lives, and I'm the one consistent person that they're able to see on a regular basis.
And are there frustrations? Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything that where we're dealing with people and ourselves, there are disappointments without a doubt, and those become frustrations. They are not forever, and there are great, great rewards in seeing how people change and how I change as I relate to those children and the other folks in the case.
There are some children out there that need a push. They need a little bit of help. They need someone to believe in them. They just need that extra eyes on them to ensure that they're doing everything they need to do in order to be successful adults one day, because that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that all of these children, no matter who you are and where you live, that they become successful adults that can contribute to society. And I think that if we could have more CASA advocates that could do that, I think that we'd be in a better place.